A book, and it was called Personality Plus. Have any of y'all ever read that book? One, two, three. Okay, it's really it's really a good book. And where I was at before that was, people. I didn't understand exactly why people were the way that they were, And so sometimes I didn't understand exactly why I was the way that I was, But as we study this and actually go into that and find out there were some scholars, some doctors that were studying that way back before Christ was, why people were the way they were, And so we all have a different personality. Well, that personality affects us. It affects how we think about others. It affects how we think about ourselves. And so I want to just look into that tonight, and you say, well, what's this got to do with the Bible? Well, I'm going to show you here in a little bit. So we're going to look, because everyone was born with a personality. So I want to just, I really wanted to find, I was hoping to find some type of a video as a good visual aid to kind of help with this, but I just couldn't find it. So I guess I'm just going to have to wing it here on this, and so we're just going to go with that tonight. Okay, so I want to just read you a little bit something. We have some handouts here that I'm going to give you in a little bit that's going to be beneficial to you. But would you agree that this would be helpful to you in the whole church body if you understood each other a little bit better? And it's not just the church body. When we talk about the church body, but it's not just the church body. It's also as we're out ministering, if we kind of understand where someone else is at in their mindset, well then it kind of helps us to be able to know how to minister to them. And there are reasons for everything we do as human beings, though it is often difficult for us to understand why we think like we think, feel like we feel, or act like we act in life. Many of the answers for human behaviors can be found in people's temperaments or personalities. And so I'm going to give you a couple of examples. You remember they said blondes had more fun. Some of y'all older people, y'all remember that, when they said blondes had more fun. And then they came up with the blondes jokes, And so I think maybe that probably had something to do with why blondes had more fun, because they would just kind of ditzy a little bit sometimes. And usually it was always about blonde women too, or blonde girls. And so I was fortunate enough to have two blonde daughters. And so I want to tell you a couple of stories. I want to tell you a couple of stories that I hope will kind of help as we go into this to tell you where we're at. Now I have my oldest daughter came to me one day when she was about 12 or 13, and she said, "Dad, the house is full of smoke." And I said, "Well, what are you doing?" She said, I'm baking cookies, but the house is full of smoke." And I said, "Well, Kathy, you are burning the cookies." I said, "Go turn the oven off." She said, No, that is not it. I am not burning the cookies because," I said, "Well, how do you know you're not burning the cookies?" She said, "Because the timer hasn't gone off yet." and so, that's kind of where she was at. She would follow directions, and that was her personality, and she would follow directions to the T. Now, because that timer hadn't went off, well, the cookies, they couldn't be the cookies burning. There was some other problem there, So anyway, so we cut the burner off and we cleared the cookies out. But now, you think about that, and so if you didn't know her, and just hear that story, you would think, well, that girl must be dumber than a bag of rocks, And so, but that was just one side of her. She went on, and some of the things that she did, she was salutatorian of her class in Sulphur Springs. She went on and she was a student president of the business school at University of Texas in Austin. She went on, she has a master's degree in accounting. She also, in that time period, had over 20 fender benders on her car. Over 20. One night she called me, she said, Dad, I backed into a pole in the parking garage. And I said, well, Kathy, and she did have a little eyesight problem, but I said, Kathy, why did you back into the pole? She said, it wasn't there when I parked. And I said, Kathy, they didn't just move the pole in. And so the point behind that is that I want to make with her, using her as an example, is that she was very book smart. Her teachers loved her because she was very book smart, but she didn't have good common sense. Now she has 3 boys now, and she's in her mid-40s, and she has a lot more common sense than she did back in those days, But that was her personality. But if you didn't know exactly the way she was, well, it would, you might come to a different opinion. Now my other daughter is the middle child, as she calls herself. She had to go all through school in the shadow of this girl being very book smart, my first daughter, which was kind of a hard thing to do. Now, she had lots of qualities. She was good at sports and different things, but she was a little bit on the back burner because Kathy was kind of excelled at that, especially at book. But I sure had Mac over here. Mac on to y'all? Okay. So, but anyway, so Karen was an AB student. She probably had a little more fun. She had a lot more common sense. She only had 1 car wreck, but that was a pretty good one. You totaled a car. but anyway, she was she was good. But the teachers, and everybody always thought that she would not excel to the level academically what Kathy did. Well, this girl now has a doctor's degree. She's been principal of several schools in the Metroplex. She's been just recently left after being superintendent down at Bradensport for several years. And so she didn't do the way that people thought she was going to do. So, but if you would have known, if you were going to form an opinion, well, you would have thought that was the way it was going to be. Now, all that being said, I wanted to use that just as an example of where we're going to go, because I feel like, in personalities, there's positive sides of people, there's negative sides of people, okay? And so I think that we have a lot more of a tendency. People can do so many good things, but if their negative side of their personality does a little bit bad or a little bit off, that's the point where we focus. Am I right? And so that's what we do. And so that's kind of the purpose of this tonight is we go into this, and we're not going to be able to learn all this tonight. I'm going to give you some stuff. I hope you'll take it home and you'll study it and look at it, if it's of interest to you. It'll be valuable to you in time, I promise you. But we want to just look at some of this stuff and see where you're at. We want to see if you could see yourself in this, see your strong points, see your weak points, see how it will help you. So, I'm gonna tell you one more joke. This is another blonde joke. I can't help myself. I told y'all before. There was a girl, a blonde girl. She had a couple of dogs. She got a couple of dogs, and she named one of them Rolex, and she named one of them Timex. And she had a friend, and she said, "Why in the world did you name those dogs Rolex and Timex? That is not dog names. Why did you name them that name?" She said, "Duh, they're watchdogs." So anyway, people think differently. Okay, we're going to look at a couple of things tonight. This is going to be broken down in like 4 basic personality types. They're going to be choleric, sanguine, melancholy, and phlegmatic. And so there's all different, they have different names, different things do, but that's the 4 basic ones that we're going to use for this tonight. Each one of those, you're going to find that you have a little bit of all of that, but you're probably going to be a couple of them that you're going to be very, very strong in, and that's going to be you. And in that, there's 2 different kind of personalities in that. There is extroverted personalities, and those are people that are more outgoing, or more sociable, or more social, and they're comfortable with the crowd and everything. And that's not exactly where I'm at. The other side is extroverted. Is introverted, and they are more shy, more reserved. They feel anxious about being in a crowd, and that's just some of the things that they do. And so as we go into this, we're going to realize that there is those 2 types of personalities are going to be broke down into these 4 different personality types. All right, I just want to read you a few notes that I have here. It should be noted that all human beings have a degree of each of these 4 personality types within them, though each person would definitely test out higher in one, with another being a close second. No individual only possesses one personality type, and most of us have a very strong secondary temperament. Should you take one of the personality tests available today, which we have one here tonight, and I'm going to give it to you when we leave for you to take home and for you to take and score yourself and look at that and kind of see where you're at. So we do have that. So we're going to give that to you tonight. And don't confuse this with spiritual gifts. This is not a spiritual gift or spiritual gift test. Now, I'm not saying that they don't kind of tie in a little bit together, but this is not about spiritual gifts. This is about personalities, okay? I lost where I was at. Yeah, all 4 personality types have general strengths and weaknesses with which people should contend, and no one personality type is better than the other. All 4 have both good and bad qualities, and all 4 are needed to make this world a better place. Whatever your temperament or personality, God is the one who has given you the ability and sensitivities that you possess, and He has given those to you for a purpose, that you might faithfully work to develop them and using them in His service. Through our temperaments, we have tainted, though our temperaments have been tainted by sin and the fall, God's Spirit is mighty at work in us, transforming us into the image of Christ, that we might be more effective workmen in His kingdom. Remember, no 2 people are alike. We are all unique, and we have all been given a unique calling in life. Therefore, it is important that we do not covet qualities we do not possess. Rather, that we focus on discovering God's will for our lives and enjoy serving Him with the skill set at which we have been blessed, knowing that God wants to use us to do the work for which He designed us. So identify your skills and strength and get to work. All right, I'm going to do the handouts out here now, and we'll just look at those, and then we'll just kind of go through those, and then I think we'll start seeing ourselves and seeing others involved in that. Oops. Sure. All right, look at these volunteers, good-looking volunteers. Made 35, I hope I have enough here. If I don't, we'll have to share. Do we have enough?
Y'all need one?
All right. Good. Everybody go?
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, first let's look at the back 2 pages. And we're not going to go there right now. I just want to show you where we're headed. And this has to do with biblical personalities. And so as we start out in the beginning on this is where we're going to end up. We're going to end up in the back here, looking at a few people and their different personalities. Okay. Now at this point right here, y'all gonna have to jump in here, and we're gonna have to talk a little bit. You're gonna have to help me a little bit on this. So we've still got a long ways to go here. So one of the personalities is a choleric strength, and the cholerics motion they have a dominant personality, and they're extroverts, they're the doers, they're the optimist people. So the cholerics emotions are born leaders, dynamic and active, compulsive need for change, must correct wrongs, strong-willed and decisive, unemotional, not easily discouraged, independent and self-sufficient, and they can run anything. All right, now let's see. Y'all, just thinking now, do you know anybody, do you have anybody that's coming to your mind that you know that is like that? I'm not saying a thing, Tommy. All right. Well, I know several people that are that way. Okay, let's go on through here a little bit, then I'll discuss that. Okay, the cholerics as parents. They're experts in sound leadership, establish goals, motivate family to action, knows the right answer, organize the household. All right. Choleric at work, goal-oriented, sees the whole picture, organizes well, seeks practical solutions, moves quickly to action, delegates work, insists on production, makes the goal, stimulates activity, thrives on opposition. And the choleric as a friend has little need for friends. Will work for group activity, will lead the organization, is usually right, excels in emergencies. All right, are we hitting home with anybody? Are you thinking of anybody? Okay. Do you know anybody in church leadership that probably maybe hits into this? These are important people. They're important people to have in your church. You know, every person in here is important to have in your church. Not one is more important than the other, but they're important for their position that they're doing and what they're holding. And if you have some of these, and you do have some of these, and you're not using them, well then we need you. You know, okay. Okay, the weakness of choleric. Choleric emotions: bossy, impatient, quick-tempered, can't relax, Too impetuous, okay. Easy controversy and arguments. Won't give up when losing. Comes on too strong. Inflexible. Is not complimentary. Dislikes tears and emotions. Is unsympathetic. Are we getting anywhere? All right. And the choleric as a parent. Tends to over-dominate. Too busy for family. Gives answers too quickly. Impatient with poor performance. Won't let the children relax. May send them into depression. Okay. Now realizing this is not their strengths. This is their weaknesses. This is where they go overboard just a little bit. So if you're choleric, okay, if you're choleric and some of these are hitting home, and you know that they're there, okay, you know what you need to work on, right? You need to say, okay, maybe I need to loosen up on them kids just a little bit. So, all right, the choleric at work, little tolerance for mistakes, doesn't analyze details, bored by trivia, may make rash decisions, may be rude or tactless, manipulates people, demanding of others. A couple more things. Demands loyalty in the ranks. Choleric as a friend. Tends to use people. Dominates others. Knows everything. Decides for others. Can do everything better. Is too independent. Possessive friends and mate. Can't say I'm sorry. May be right, but unpopular. This is weaknesses again, okay? We're still at weaknesses. All right. So let's stop here just for a minute. Okay, we had strengths, we had weaknesses. We had good things, we had things that we need to work on. Are we hitting home with anybody here? Okay, yes, all right. I want to give you another personal example. My first wife was totally different from Dee. Dee and I get along a whole lot better than me and my first wife did. I mean, not that I didn't love her. I mean, I loved her with all my heart. So I'm not saying that, you know. But what I am saying is that she was very, very choleric. And you could tell her that wall was white, and she would say, "It is yellow." And it doesn't make any difference if it had white wrote on it. They were wrong. It was yellow. And that was her personality. That was the way it was. And she was very organized, and she was strong, and she could do a lot of things, and she had a lot of positive things about her. But you could not argue that woman down. You might as well just go on. And so, but that was her personality. And at a point where I really understood that, it really helped our marriage a whole lot because I understood that. Okay? So it's important. Now, what if you get a person that you're wanting to witness to, and as you're trying to witness to them, man, they're just coming up with some points here, you know, that just think, man, how do you get around this? How do you answer that? You know, I mean, they're just really coming against you real strong. Well, you can't. You have to rely on the Holy Spirit to open their hearts, you know. But because that they're saying all that, it doesn't mean that what you're saying, that the Lord penetrates the heart. And so you just have to keep planting those seeds. You just keep planting, and you keep planting, and you keep planting. You know, when you come up against these different personalities, and the Lord will take and use that then. So, but instead of getting mad at them, and instead of just saying, I don't want anything to do with you anymore, I don't even want to be around you anymore, keep planting. Keep planting, understanding where they're at, understanding their personality where they're at, and just keep planting. All right, let's move on to a sanguine. Sanguines are extroverts, they're talkers, and they're optimists. Sanguine's emotions: appealing personality, talkative, storyteller, life of the party, good sense of humor, memory for color, physically holds on to listener, emotional and demonstrative, and they're curious, they are sincere at heart, and they're always a child. You know, people like that, they're just the life of the party. You know, there's little butterflies. You're just around all the time. They just seem to be happy all the time. All right, the sanguine as a parent makes home fun, is liked by children's friends, turns disaster into humor, is the circus master. Now, I know several of you moms would probably fit into that category just a little bit. You know, our grandson come running through the door yesterday, and he said, "Where's Granny? Where's Granny?" And I said, "Well, what am I, a piece of meat?" but he's always hunting his Granny. He's 7. He just turned 7, you know, and we have fun and everything. But Granny plays with him. She's always has things interesting to him. So that's part of her personality that comes out there, and it's really makes an impression, you know. And she's he listens to her. He listens to what she has to say. And so she has Dee has a little bit of that sanguine in her too, even though she's reserved on it a little bit. She can be the life of the party a lot of times and things too. So she has some of that too. But I thought that was funny yesterday when he come running through there. "Where's Granny?" So sanguines at work. They volunteer for jobs, thinks up new activities, looks great on the service, creative and colorful, has energy and enthusiasm, starts in a flashy way, inspires others to join, charms others to work. You know, Brother Larry kind of fit into that picture there of charming others to work. I mean, you couldn't turn the man down. He'd go to talk to you, and you said yes for you. Your mind was saying no, and your mouth was saying yes all the time, and so there you went. So he had a very good talent at that. All right, and the sanguine as a friend, makes friends easy, loves people, thrives on compliments, seems exciting, envied by others, doesn't hold grudges, apologizes quickly, prevents dull moments, and likes spontaneous activities. The weaknesses of a sanguine. The sanguine's emotions: compulsive talker. Have you ever been around anybody that just, you can never get a word in? You know, they just talk, you know. And so, but that's, you know, and I've known several people that were that way, and they become to realize that they were doing that, you know, and so they would really, you could tell they were really working on that. They were really trying to watch it, but they had this sanguine personality, you know, and they just loved to talk, and you know, and it just flowed out of them, you know. Sometimes, I mean, they could take a story that I could tell you in about 10 words, and they painted the whole picture of it, you know. They could tell you all about it, you know, everything, you know. And so, but sometimes they can be a little bit overbearing with that. Okay. Dwells in trivia, can't remember names, scares others off, too happy for some, has restless energy, egotistical, blusters and complains, naive, gets taken in, has loud voice and laugh, controlled by circumstances, get angry easily, seems phony to some, never grows up. Now, that doesn't mean that all sanguines have all of these things. And I think you understand that. These are just some of the things that they may have, and this is weaknesses again. Okay, the sanguine as a parent keeps home in a frenzy, forgets children's appointments, disorganized, doesn't listen to the whole story. You know anybody like that? I didn't say nothing. All right. Sanguine at work. Rather talk, forgets obligations, doesn't follow through, confidence fades fast, undisciplined, priorities out of order, decides by feeling, easily distracted, waste time talking. Okay. And the sanguine as a friend. Hates to be alone, needs to be center stage, wants to be popular, looks for credit, dominates conversations, interrupts, and doesn't listen, answers for others, fickle and forgetful, makes excuses, repeats stories. All right, is that hitting anybody? Is anybody seeing themselves in some of these things? And remember, all of us have some of this. All right. Next thing we're going to is the melancholy. Okay, strengths of a melancholy. What minute time we got going here? I'm going to have to put it in gear here, aren't I? Okay, the melancholy's emotions, deep and thoughtful, analytical, serious and purposeful, genius prone, talented and creative, artistic and musical, self-sacrificing, idealistic. The melancholy as a parent sets high standards, wants everything done right, keeps home in good order, picks up after children, sacrifices own will for others, encourages scholarship and talent. The melancholy at work, schedule-oriented, perfectionist, high standards, detail-conscious, persistent and thorough, orderly and organized, neat and tidy, economical, sees the problem, finds creative solutions, needs to finish what he starts, likes charts, graphs, figures, lists. Know anybody like that? Yeah, a lot of people like that. Melancholy as a friend, makes friends cautiously, content to stay in the background, avoids causing attention, faithful and devoted, will listen to complaints, can solve others' problems, deep concern for other people, moved to tears with compassion, seeks an ideal mate. All right, and so here's some of the weaknesses of a melancholy. Remembers the negatives, moody and depressed, enjoys being hurt, has false humility, off in another world, low self-esteem, has selective hearing, self-centered, Is that hitting anybody? Okay. Melancholy as a parent. Puts goals beyond reach. May discourage children. May be too meticulous. Melancholy at work. Not people-oriented. Depressed over imperfections. Chooses difficult work. Hesitant to start projects, spends too much time planning, prefers analysis to work. Melancholy as a friend, lives through others, insecure socially, withdrawn and remote, critical of others, holds back affections, dislikes those in opposition, skeptical of compliments. Okay, and so we're going to go to the last one here, which is phlegmatic. The phlegmatic's emotion. They have a low-key personality, easygoing and relaxed, calm, cool, and collected, patient, well-balanced, consistent life, quiet but witty, sympathetic and kind, keeps emotions hidden, happily reconciled to life. They're an all-purpose person. And the phlegmatic as a parent makes a good parent, takes time for the children, is not in a hurry, can take the good with the bad, doesn't get upset easily. And the phlegmatic at work, competent and steady, peaceful and agreeable, has administrative ability, meditates problems, avoids conflicts, good under pressure, finds the easy way. And the phlegmatic is a friend, easy to get along with, easy to get along with, pleasant and enjoyable, good listener, has compassion and concern. Okay, and then let's look at their weaknesses. Unenthusiastic, fearful and worried, indecisive, avoids responsibility. Too compromising, self-righteous. Phlegmatic as a parent, lacks on discipline, doesn't organize home, takes life too easy. Phlegmatic at work, not goal-oriented, lacks self-motivation, hard to get moving. Resents being pushed, lazy and careless, discourages others, would rather watch. And the phlegmatic as a friend, dampens enthusiasm, stays uninvolved, is not exciting, indifferent to plans, judges others, sarcastic and teasing, resists change. Okay. Now, very quickly, let's go to page 6, and very quickly, let's look at the four temperaments in Bible personalities. Number 1 is sanguine, is a trust me, it'll work out. And according to this study, Peter was a trust me type. He was very dramatic, often speaking up for the rest of the disciples. Would you agree with that? And the melancholy, how was it done in the past? Moses was one of them. Is a do-it-right kind of guy who wanted to know the details of how God was going to help him lead the people out of Egypt. Attentive to the details of the law given by God and the precise measurements of the temple. Probably Moses was a melancholy, phlegmatic. He seemed unsure of himself and tried to convince God to make his brother Aaron a leader. I understand where he's at. I can't speak very good either. All right, let's look at caloric. Means let's do it now. Paul had a do it now temperament. He was left for dead, in prison, stoned, forsaken, and forgotten, yet he pressed on towards the high calling of God. Would you agree with that? And phlegmatic. Let's keep things the way they are. See, there's some scriptures there. Said Barnabas, Nehemiah, Isaac. They were some of the ones that they considered to be phlegmatic. So many pastors and intercessors are phlegmatic type people. Okay. I hope that you have. I hope this is something that is. I have a whole lot of more information. I mean, there's tons of information on this, but that should be enough to either spur your interest or you say, not interested in that, one or the other, you know. And hopefully you will take this and you will study it, because I promise you it will be beneficial to you in time. It'll be beneficial in your personal life. More importantly, it'll be beneficial to you in your spiritual life, because it will really help you understand where other people are at, and why they may act the way they do. See, sometimes people act some way and it might be offensive to us, but to them, that person, they're just acting naturally. It's not really something that they intend. They don't even know that it's offensive to you. It's just their natural way of being. So they don't think the same way. So as you kind of begin to learn the personalities and where they fit together, well, then it helps you to understand that person and where they may be at. Okay? All right, I have some more handouts. And these are these are personality tests. Remember, so y'all can take these home and you can So, I would be curious to know in the future, and I intended to take one of these. I haven't took one of these in a long time, and I intended to do it yesterday. It didn't happen. I intended to do it today. It didn't happen. So I've got to go home and take one too. And so, kind of, because I have forgot exactly where I am positioned at, and sometimes that might change just a little bit. And so anyway, I need to go do this too. So, but I would be curious to know if you take this, if this is beneficial to you or not, and if you would like more things like this in the future for me or anyone else. I mean, we can go into the spiritual gifts. We have a test in that we can do. It's quite educational on that as you look into that. So there's different things that we can do. Everybody get one? Yeah. Shoot. How many you want? 2 or 3? Is that enough? Marcia, is that enough? Okay. Well, thank y'all for being patient and listening to me. And so, does anybody have any questions about anything? Pardon? Does it change? Yeah, well, Right. And I totally agree with that, Larry. I'm not sure always that our personality changes, but that negative side of our personality changes when we get to know the Lord. We learn how to, a lot of that old stuff's wiped out there, from that old stuff, from our old personalities, And so we definitely, but we can change from time to time. I really believe that, our personalities will change as we mature, or circumstances changes, where we're going to maybe think differently from that. And I'm certainly not a scholar at that, so I can't really give you a tried and true answer on that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and that's definitely yeah. This is true. I understand, Pardon? I'm going to have to retake the test. I think I'm I think I'm a phlegmatic sanguine. I think is the way that I was. I'm pretty sure that's what I used to be, but I hadn't took it in a long time, and really the Lord just kind of put this. This has become something that's kind of become natural with me as I'm out and around and just talking to people. That has just happened. So I haven't taken that test in probably 15 years. And so I need to go back and take it. But the best I remember, I was phlegmatic sanguine. This is what I was. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that's true.
Reading these, I mean, I just read this first page, it said directions, and it says, if you are not sure which word most applies, ask a spouse or a friend, and think of what your answer would have been when you were a child.
Let me.
That kind of answers that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm just reading what the
Yeah,
directions.
yeah.
What kind of personality is that?
Personality changes as much as your perspective.
Perspective. Yeah, that's probably that. I think that's probably true. I think that is probably true.
Yeah,
So.
your personality says brings your life of the party or something, but then your thinking changes maybe after you get saved, you get older, and the life of the party maybe means something totally different.
Good. Amen. Anybody else? All right, let's look at the prayer needs here. Brother Ray Duck, Marcia, you still in pain? Okay, continue to pray for Marcia. Jay Murray is healing. I saw him. He was up here today a little bit, just doing around. I really think Pat drug him up here to make him do something, I think. But anyway, I think there was a couple of things that was needing taken care of. And so anyway, I talked to him for just a moment. Peggy Platts is having heart surgery August the 23rd at 1 o'clock, right? Mm-hmm. Amen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She